Alright, we got a few more parts show up, some nice ones. We got our coolant reservoir tank, replacement reservoir cap, our brand new Garrett turbo, okay, I got my oil filter, full flow oil filter and oil bypass filter and remote mounting kit. So this one's, I chose this one because it actually has the full flow and the bypass built into it. So I don't have to have an extra manifold, extra hoses, extra connections, which I think the more connections you have, the more leak points and damage you can run. So I like this one. Came with a mounting bracket, basic universal kit, and some hose. It's 1/2 inch hose. I'm probably going to go with 5/8 inch hose and use that for something else. But yeah, that's what we have so far. Still haven't gotten the cylinder head gaskets. I'm hoping they come in tomorrow. As soon as we get more, we start working putting this thing back together. Stay tuned.
So I did get the oil pan gasket in, and while we're waiting on the other parts to start putting the heads back on, I figured I'd just give you a quick view of the underside with the oil pan removed. You can see there's a groove where the oil pan gasket fits up into, and there's a little notch in the gasket so it can only go on one way. Everything looks clean under here. You can see the pickup tube. Don't have any damage. Again, I just wanted to show you guys, give you the chance to see what it looks like with the oil pan removed. Not a whole lot to see, but you can see up inside there. So here we have my oil pan. It's all cleaned up, ready to go on with the new gasket. Let's get her installed.
Alright, so I went ahead and installed the STC fitting update. There's the old one. There's the new one. So I'm not making a video of every little step because there's a lot of good YouTube videos out there, especially for this Powestroke 6.0. But I will say, for the STC fitting, I followed Diesel Tech Ron's YouTube video. Straightforward, easy. He's got a lot of good information over there. Again, just showing that I did the STC fitting update on the high pressure oil pump. I'm not going to put it in yet because I'm still waiting on my head gaskets. I want to put my cylinder heads on before I put the HPOP on, just to give me as much room under there as possible. So we'll keep going at it. Okay, so I think I figured out where I'm going to mount the remote oil filter setup. It's not, definitely doesn't have as much room underneath as my Excursion does. So I'm going to mount it in front of the fuel tank, just behind the transfer case, which has plenty of protection from the skid plate. And with it mounted the way I'm going to do it, attached to that frame rail, make my own bracket. I made sure I can still get to both your drain and refill on the transfer case. So let's get started on making that bracket, see how she turns out.
Here's my bracket. It's a 2-piece bracket. The larger one's going to bolt to the frame rail using 3/8 stainless steel bolts. The smaller one is just a stabilizing brackets, eliminate any vibration.
Okay, I'm getting ready to put the passenger side head in. It's the first one you want to do first. I'm following 6.0 Doctor. He's got a couple YouTube videos out there of doing a cab on cylinder head gasket replacement. So that's what I'm following. It's working pretty good. Right now I got passenger side head here, new gasket between the head and the valley, rocker panel. We put new factory exhaust manifold gaskets. They're actually, the ones that were on there were graphite. These are steel material. Installed the 3 back studs holding them in place, just a zip tie, and I did install the farthest back glow plug. I'm putting new glow plugs in it. So this one was just too difficult to put in. I don't want to break it, so we're gonna go ahead and do it with that one installed. Everything else is, I'm gonna wait until I get it on there. I'll put the injectors on once the head's on. I don't want to take any chances of nicking the injector tips. So once I get it on there, we'll start putting everything in, rocker assembly, push rods, all that good stuff. On the truck itself, cleaned off the side, got the Ford factory head gasket on there. They recommend no coating, so I'm not doing a coating. We'll get it set on in place. Just to give you an update, we did get quite a few parts in. So the nice thing is, in that big box line in the truck is the header piece that goes across the front. And that's the grill header. That's where I'm going to attach the oil cooler assembly to. So that's nice. We'll have that to put on once we get the underneath the hood caught up. Do have the bracket made for the oil filter, remote oil filter mount. So once we get the header, we'll do the bracket for that. And I went ahead, the grill and headlights are on order. They should be coming in this week. And we did end up going with a aftermarket bumper. It's pretty aggressive. I used it on my work truck when I was running in the oil field, and it saved my truck several times, so we went ahead and went with the same design. So that'll be fun to put on. We're looking forward to it, and then this thing, we'll get it on the road for the first time since we've owned it. Stay tuned. Alright, so got this passenger side cylinder head set in place. Studs are all hand tight per their instructions. Small ones I just have on there right off the bat before I pulled the chain off. Now I'm going to be putting my rockers on so I can put my stud nuts on. Torque specs and torque sequence, except I started at 65 foot-pounds and increased 30 pounds increments all the way up to 210 pounds. Using, again, this is ARP's torque sequence, torque spec for the main studs, and smaller studs there. So I did this sequence starting at 65 foot-pounds, increasing up 30 pounds each time until I got to 210 foot-pounds. Using my half-inch drive Craftsman torque wrench. See if we can get a calibration date. Calibrated July 20th, 2019. This is my smaller torque wrench I use for the smaller intake studs. I'm sorry, the smaller studs on the head. And now I just got to put my injectors on. Alright, so I'm cleaning the injectors really well. And I'm replacing 2 wall rings and the crush washer. Part number if you want. Not replace the injectors, just the seal kit. We'll do that to each injector. Alright, here I'm just showing the new standpipes. So this one hadn't been upgraded. You can see it's got 2 different size Allen heads. Plus the new one has the nylon bushing. So getting ready to put these in on the driver's side, or passenger side. Alright, so I got the injectors installed with new seal kits. I got the updated standpipe and dummy plugs. Everything else is installed. It's all torqued to spec. Injectors, hold down bolts. I got new O-rings on everything. Got the clips all ready to go. New valve cover gasket. So now I'm getting ready to throw in the valve cover. Once I throw the valve cover, I'll go ahead and put in the injection pressure regulator and start on the driver's side. Alright, I got both cylinder heads installed. Still gotta do injectors on that side. Okay, so I got both driver's and passenger side heads, injectors, standpipes all installed, valve covers. Driver's side's not torqued down because I gotta locate some bolts. Seems to be that they misplaced them, and I need to try to find the bracket for the fickum because that was gone too. So now everything's cleaned out. I blew air out of the holes. I'm going to put on my high pressure oil pump now, and then the oil mount. Alright, we got the high pressure oil pump all mounted. Bolts are torqued down. New O-rings. Now we're going to do the cover gasket. Okay, got the gasket on, getting ready to put on my bulletproof oil adapter. That's the big reason why I chose this one. I like the screen design. I'm going to be running Rotella T6 1540 full synthetic, and poured about 2 quarts or half a gallon of oil into the valley. Now we'll set it up. Alright, so now we got the high pressure oil pump on, the cover, and the bulletproof adapter plate. Everything's torqued down to specs. Now I'll put the turbo mount bracket in, and then the intake. Alright. Got everything ready for the intake. Got my new sensor back there. Updated old drain tube, turbo mount. Gaskets are in place. These are Ford factory gaskets. The tab up. Bulletproof set there. We'll pull that O-ring out and we'll be ready to drop it in. I got my white pipe in, but it's loose. I didn't tighten down to the manifold. I want to get it attached to the turbo first, then the EGR cooler, and then we'll torque everything down. Getting ready to do the blue spring mod. Here's the kit. Your blue spring and part number. Got the bulletproof diesel EGR cooler on. We're actually waiting for the silicone hose. It goes from here to the connection under here. Ordered from a local parts store for silicone high temperature hose, and they gave me just standard heater hose, rubber. Insisted it was silicone, but it wasn't. So that's on order. Should be getting in a couple days some high temperature silicone heater hose. Then we can finish putting the turbo on, getting the engine buttoned back up.
I want to thank all military members, veterans, and their family members for keeping this great land safe. Also want to thank all our police officers and their families for keeping us safe as well. Thank you, and be safe out there.